Red Dreaded Entertainment, guys, what up? It's Akasan here for another classic interview. I'm about to interview my boy, AJ here. Gonna get to know him a little bit more. Long time no see.
How you doing,
Good
man?
to see you again. Yeah. So, we're gonna go ahead and take this opportunity and ask some questions that I think you guys might be interested about living in Japan. One, as a black man. Two, as an actor. Let's get into it. AJ, how long have you been in Japan now, at this point?
About 8 years.
Okay.
No, sorry, 9 years. Yeah, 9 years.
Where are you originally from?
I'm from Michigan. You guys know where East Lansing is?
Wouldn't have no idea.
Yeah, right. Nobody knows.
You grew up there.
I grew up there. I was born in Queens, New York, which sounds way cooler.
Yeah.
I'm from Queens, New York.
Right.
When I was 4 months old. Damn it.
Same as Spider-Man.
Yeah, right. Yeah, same as Spider-Man. But yeah. I grew up in Michigan.
Okay. And then why did you decide to come to Japan?
When I was about 7 years old, I decided instantly that I wanted to become a game designer or a game-related job, period. As soon as I played Mario Bros., I immediately knew
the original one.
Yeah, very, very old Nintendo original Mario Bros. I was like, doing it.
So you wanted to be a game designer, why? Because you just wanted to create games, or you just wanted to essentially draw characters and buildings and things
It was a combination of all of that. Like, I have like this ridiculous imagination. It's a part of the ADD package. You don't ask for it, you just get it. It's great and it sucks. Anyway, what happened is that I was like, you know what? All of what video games are is what I like. You got the drawing, you got the stories, you got the gameplay mechanics. There's a little bit of math in there which I don't really care for. I mean I do, but it's not like, man, math, you know? Like, it's like more about like what you can create with the parameters that you're given.
Got it, okay.
You know, use your imagination, do whatever you want, but make it into something that you can do. And that's where I was like, that's it, that's what I want to do, and I knew that from a very early age.
I see. So what part of game designing would you like to get into now? Do you just want to be doing storyboard stuff? Or, like you said, you mentioned there is a good amount of math in there, there's programming and things like that. Is that part of what you want to do? Build it all from scratch?
I did try that. I actually tried that. You guys can check it out.
C++ or something like that?
Yeah. I used C++, I used Java a little bit. I used Unity for the most part to try and build a game. That's the boring stuff. They don't want to hear about that. But what happened is that I tried to build my own game from scratch for about 2.5, 3 years. And then I kind of grew up and grew into the idea that I have strengths in other areas. And that I'm more of a producer and more of a leader than I am a frontline soldier.
Okay.
Just sitting there grinding out frame by frame. I can do that, and I'm good at it, well, decent at it, but I think I do much better having a team. And I want a team, like a family, to really push an idea. And I've got all sorts of ideas that I think can really come to life if I have the right team. So it took me a long time to get there, though.
There is older work that you can see online, stuff that you've created.
Yeah, you can see it on... You can see it on my YouTube channel, my original one, AJ Chan. Yes, AJ Chan, C-H-Y-A-N. It's for Japanese people. It was my first YouTube channel. I know the name is horrible. Do not judge me. Anyway, you can check out my Soft Macro Adventure. It's a Kickstarter. It's a rough draft Kickstarter. You can check out the game.
All right. There. So you came to Japan with this idea, this dream of getting into game design.
Yes.
What happened? What were your first steps?
My first steps, and this is actually the funnest part, the most fun part, I should say, is that you start off paper and pencil, and you just think about an idea that you really want to bring to life. Limitless possibilities. Don't think about, don't start genre. Just think of what can you make this character do, and then you go from there. So.
But I mean, in terms of coming to Japan, what did you do? Did you get into the industry? Did you start interning at game companies or so?
I came here and realized it was really difficult to live without a proper visa. I couldn't get into the games industry right away, and I moved to the wrong place twice. And
How so? What do you mean?
I moved to cities that didn't really have the industry I was looking for. I assumed they did. I didn't do my research, and I kind of wanted to be close to...
Really? What cities did you go to?
I went to Nagoya.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you felt like that was, like, why did you think that would be the good
I was like, there's game studios out there. I'll go work there. And
okay.
then I found out.
Well, I mean, it is kind of well known that Kyoto is Nintendo's hometown.
Yeah.
But that's a very huge rarity. Like, a lot of game companies generally have just all start in Tokyo and such, that. And then what was the other place?
It was for the most part Kyoto. I went there for a little bit.
As such, yeah.
I was like close to Kyoto, and then years later I moved to Nagoya.
So you lived in Nagoya and Kyoto as well for a short time. For
a little bit. I lived in Nagoya. I lived a little too long, to be honest. Yeah.
It happens. It happens with a lot. A lot of foreigners end up, like even Dante, DC's son, he stayed and he was in Kyoto for a long, long time. That's actually where he learned his original Japanese from, and he was studying Bushido and like a lot of martial arts before he even became as famous as he is now. He was just a martial arts expert and studying kung fu as well. And in Kyoto, and then gradually made his way to Tokyo. And started auditioning, which is very similar to what you're doing now. So you're an actor by trade, or is it part-time?
It's part-time right now. Part-time. Okay. It's slowly building up to it's getting a lot of momentum.
Acting and modeling.
Acting and yes, thank you. Acting and modeling, yes.
Would you say you're doing more modeling or acting at this moment?
More modeling. It's easy. It's way easier for me to get modeling jobs. Less expensive. You can do it quicker. More opportunity to just get it done.
When you say less expensive, what do you mean?
It's less expensive to get me in front of the camera and start the product for them on the production side.
I see. Okay.
And then I still get paid a pretty decent amount, but like for the actual people who produce everything, they have to make a day, set up a cafe, and all the cameras and the equipment.
I get it. So the production side is smaller, and thus you get more work because people just need you to come in and out. It's a one-day shoot or something like that. How did you fall into that part? Because you came here with the video game dream. Did you still have like this look, this image when you came to Japan in the beginning?
No. I mean, I had a bit more of a younger style back in the day.
Okay.
I mean, that sounds kind of ridiculous, but I did. I had a little bit more of a younger style. I think I have a slightly more masculine, older style now.
Okay.
But back then, I got into it.
Were you fit back then when you came to Japan?
I was lean.
Okay,
I was really lean. I still was fit because of the fighting and stuff. I did a lot of fighting kung fu as well.
I see.
So like I was thinner, but I also drank. So I had like this little pot belly thing going on. And people didn't take me seriously when I was like, I model.
Yeah.
They're like, really? I had this Brazilian, like this beautiful Brazilian actual model at that time in a club go, really? And she poked my stomach. And that was actually inspiration for me to get back into it. She's like, are you really a model? I'm a freaking model. And I was like, oh yeah? Took out her phone. It was a flip phone at the time. And she showed me all her pictures. I was like, I don't know what to do. Yeah, she blew me out of the water. She's like, I'm a model. Shut up. And I was like, I don't.
You don't keep in contact with her now.
No,
right?
I have no idea where she is.
Yeah, that's funny. But, okay, so you kind of fell into acting. Well, how did you get about doing that? Did you contact agencies? Did they find you? Because every once in a while, like a lot of you may not realize this, but just going out to Shibuya and some of these local areas, there's a lot of talent scouts and agents that'll just come and ask you to do some stuff. I was so mad at my friend one time because some talent scout asked us to be in commercials or whatever, but it was in Japanese, and I really didn't catch most of it. I didn't know what was going on, and he was just like, no, we're okay. I'm like, what was that all about? Oh, he wanted us to be in some sort of TV show, or I'm like, what the hell? And I was like, no, get him again. And we went running for him, but like he was already gone.
It's
and
just soccer.
I was so mad about that. I'm like, why would you pass on this? Especially, it was really weird. I don't know why he passed on it, but I thought it was something shady in the beginning.
Like, just like, you want some soup?
Right, it was weird. But anyways, so how did it work for you?
Okay, it's kind of a long story, but I'm going to try and cut it as short as I can. There was a famous Japanese reggae group. They were doing an encore, and I got front tickets. I was right there in the front. It was an awesome show. Really amped. That artist group was like, okay, you guys want an encore? Everybody's like, yay. This is in Japan, by the way. And they're like, you want an encore? Yay. Okay, what do you want to hear? Dead silence. And I was like, looking around like a fucking dog. Countryman! I yelled the name of the song, Countryman. And then everybody just made this giant circle around me. And the artists were like,
Jesus, who is
did you say Countryman? That song's like 8 years old. Spotlight hits me. I'm by myself, just like,
Hi.
hey guys. Crickets. They're like, holy shit, you're foreign. What? I didn't know you listened to our music. Dude, that's awesome. We've been trying to reach out for a crowd for a long time. USA, USA. I start cheering, USA. What's your name, man? I'm like, I'm AJ, blah, blah, blah. They played the song. Everybody was really happy. I got into VIP. I'm like, holy shit, you're a really good looking guy. You want to model for us? And I was like, yes. And then I got a modeling job with them about half a year, about 8 months later.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They just took me out, and then we did a big professional shoot. And next thing I knew, they had another showing of their, they did another concert, and they blew my modeling pictures up to about, bigger than this poster, about double that size. They had like 7 of them up while they were doing the show. And they're like, this is for our new fashion line, check it out. And I was like,
what brand, what band was this?
It's called Mighty Crown and
okay.
Fireball, sorry. Mighty Crown and Fireball. Japanese reggae group, really good stuff. Really good stuff.
That's
really
awesome.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, it works really well.
Yeah, so it snowballed from there. I got that job, and then that led to other jobs. And then that's
so it was all by chance.
It was kind of by chance, yeah.
Okay, so what are your goals now? Because obviously game designing and modeling and acting are quite different fields of the spectrum here. So what are we looking at now, or what's your plan for the next couple of years here, staying in Japan?
Well, okay, so you got like 2 roads, right? I go the designer route. This road, like, just grind a game out and then try to sell it and maybe start up an indie development kind of stuff until I have a finished product. It's my hands up here. I have a finished product up here, and that finished product is my game. The entertainment route, by the way. Games and entertainment are a lot more closely related nowadays than they were.
True. Very good, especially with the motion capture,
right.
The Last of Us, things like that.
Exactly. Holy shit. So many ladders in that game, though. Good lord. Anyway, so you got the designer route, and that's what I was doing. It was really slow. But then you got the modeling and the modeling and the acting route, and that has been really fast. So what I'm going to do now is get to know people, network, make a lot more money, get myself out there, and maybe get supported for a startup group via my ideas and the start of those ideas.
That's a good idea.
After I get a lot of promotion, and I get buffed up that way, instead of trying to like compete as a designer and then a game designer and ignoring all of the modeling.
I say that's a pretty fair assessment, because I think you'll have the financial backing a lot easier through modeling and acting, that you can have a lump sum, you get about $5,000 together or something like that. Right. You start this Kickstarter pitch type of deal, and gradually get people through that. I think even like someone like me, essentially that's kind of the same route I want to take with the video game that the 1 or 2 video games that I would like to develop. Is I rather push through YouTube more, or as a personality, and then people will follow you a lot faster, a lot quicker, knowing your personality through that, instead of being fresh off like, hey man, I got a game, like, who are you?
You're everybody shaking. Has a game. Your hands are bleeding. Like,
everybody has a game.
Like, everybody has a game. Yeah, seriously.
I see. So what type? What advice would you give for nowadays, looking back on all the years you've been here in Japan? If you were to do things over, what advice would you give to your past self in terms of starting out and in terms of going for a particular goal?
Jeez.
Like, I know for me personally, I'd tell my past self to shut the hell up and study Japanese a lot more to save some time. But how about yourself?
For me, it would be. Oh shit, that's a really good question. I guess I would go back and say, plan from general, really general, to specific.
Okay.
And don't do it once, but do it like 3 times.
Okay.
I think.
Just planning.
Just keep planning. Cause
stay on it, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing.
Right?
Yeah.
there's like a lot of things that happen when you plan something. It's not just, oh, I planned it. Like, you can't get, you get so much more out of it. And I didn't really put emphasis on that on a long, big scale. Like, I had it on like a couple weeks. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna learn this and do this for a month.
Do you feel you get distracted a lot with everything else going on?
Not anymore.
Okay.
Not anymore. A long time ago, or back in the day, I used to, because I was working within like month time frames, and that does a lot of bad things to your confidence, especially.
You're talking about like you work for a company, you get paid monthly, like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So
or like
the cycle, yeah.
Or like you're like, I'm gonna make a new picture in 2 weeks or a week. I'm just gonna make a drawing. Just do it. Yeah. That's unrealistic. You're not like, I'm gonna plan this picture to go to this, to go to this, to go to this for a big plan. Like, I didn't do that. I was too busy working in like little separated spots, and it just wore me out. If I had like a goal that I really, really wanted and looked at it and really thought about it all the way down to the finest detail and did that a couple more times, it would have been imprinted in my mind that I need to do this every day, and then I would have not let anything else get in my way. But
do you find yourself having any disadvantages being a foreigner in Japan, doing game design or acting, modeling?
Yeah. There's some disadvantages. Like one of them, I guess, would be fluency of the language.
Okay.
They treat you like, and I don't mean they, but there's a lot of people that will treat you pretty terribly, honestly, if you can't speak to a super fluent level.
True.
As a professional in any field, especially in Japan. So let's say you have a 60%, 70% fluency in Japanese. You can carry a conversation intellectually, but you can't read all of the really big words, and people will just be like, oh, he's a kid. You're like, I'm actually an adult. And they're like, nope, on paper, you're a child, don't care. And you're like,
really? So you think they treat you worse because of that?
Yeah. They treat you worse, but they treat you nicely. You know how it is. They're like, oh, hey, don't worry about it. Here goes a ball. Play with that ball while we do the real work. And you're like,
I see. That's quite interesting. Then, do you think things would be easier for you, especially nowadays with the way the world is so globalized and such? Do you think things would be easier for you being back home, being back in America, in terms of video game design, acting, or modeling? Do you think the chances are better for you out here?
That's a very messy question.
Okay.
Because I know a lot of people in LA who are working professionally who have even been on the big screen like fractions of a second, but they still made it. And they are like, yeah, man, I can help you get there. I can pave this way for you. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, let me think about my future in Japan, as I've been trying to accomplish my life goal, as my dream. So I have that waiting, never really waiting, but I have that there, as opposed to here, I started fresh.
Right.
And I'm still kind of grinding and doing it, and that creates a niche, because there's not a lot of guys out there exactly like me, or exactly like Dante, or exactly like you, especially here. But in America, there's like a million of us, right?
Okay.
So
that's a good point.
Right?
Okay. So you're working through the niche to become something more.
Exactly,
like
yeah.
Okay, I can see that. All right, then finally, what kind of advice for people that are wanting to get into the game industry do you feel like it's the most beneficial for them to move to Japan at this point?
If you were a game designer and you're trying to move to Japan to do game design, you have to consider two things. Do you want to work for a company, or do you want to do your own stuff? If you want to do your own stuff, you have to plan that accordingly. Now, you can do that. It's a lot easier now to do it than it was even 10 years ago, like when Angry Birds came out.
Right.
Pre-Angry Birds, there wasn't a lot of independent small companies making a lot of games or money off of that. So let's say you want to work for a big company in Japan, or you want to work for a company in Japan. Your route is probably going to still be similar to if you were to try and make your own thing. Because in making your own thing, you're going to complete a product. You're going to complete something to show somebody. If it doesn't work out, that's not so bad. You still have a product to show a different company that, for one, you're serious, and for two, that you have the skills to maintain. The only issue is the language. That is something you really have to take the time to do. Luckily for you, you can study for the test. There's a giant test twice a year. Study for that. Pass that test. It's called the JLPT. Google it. Pass that test, you'll be set. You know, get to level 2, you'll be set. It's gonna take some time. I'd say treat it like working out. Take like an hour a day to study.
But now, do you feel, again, for the video game design, the dream of making video games itself, do you feel that there's a huge benefit being in Japan versus, you know, you have Santa Monica Studios and you have all these like game companies, especially in Los Angeles nowadays, where you don't have to worry about this language benefit. And there's also the argument that many Japanese game designers at this point in time really, there used to be a big advantage of like, okay, everything looks like sex, like amazingly good, Final Fantasy style, but now we've seen like with video games like The Last of Us, God of War, Into Dawn or the Dust to Dawn or something, Waiting for Dawn or something like that. There's games now that are more targeted for the American audience. So, I mean, do you feel like you particularly need to come to Japan to make video games?
No.
No. Okay.
No. You don't have to. You don't have to. Back when I was a young lad trying to do it, I was like, I gotta come here and learn the trade here. And then iPhone came out, boom, everybody could do it. Now it's just like, what? And then like completely turned around. The world completely turned around. Japan completely turned around. Everybody did, right? So now everything is smaller, and you could actually communicate and get work. Or I'm sorry, I can't think of the word right now. English, losing the ability to speak it.
This is true.
Anyway, if you have good work in your own country, you could probably connect to somebody in Japan with that work.
Yeah, all right, a resume, a good resume.
Yeah, there you go.
Portfolio.
Yeah,
I have a
easily, way easier. You'll be more recognized that way than trying to learn the language from scratch to be like, I am here to make games. They go, great, here goes the ball. You go, damn it. You know, like, so be careful of that.
So what are your biggest things right now in the most immediate future that you would like people to look out for?
For me?
Yeah, like the people, the audience right now, the Red Nation watching, like, what would you like them to be on the lookout for?
From me?
Yes.
Oh, from me? On my channel, I actually have I got a lot of advice coming up. I got some dating advice. I've got, you know, cultural stuff they can see. But soon, wow, voice just cracked. But soon, please edit that. I have one of my card games. I just took out a card game out of beta. It's really good. It's really hot. I'm gonna clean it up and put it on my channel. You guys can see me play that game against other people, and other people play each other. Aka's probably gonna play me at some point. It's a really awesome game. It's called what? You know what? I'm not gonna tell you what it's called. You'll see it. It's coming up soon. It's coming up maybe in another 3 or 4 months. It needs some work, but you'll be seeing that very soon here.
Awesome. Okay, Red Nation, stand up, speak up, let me know what you guys think about the particular interview. If you want to go ahead and check out what else AJ has to offer, I will leave a link in the description below to his channels or some of his work. I saw some of his stuff on Twitch. He actually had something very interesting a few months ago. Unfortunately, it was very titillating. Unfortunately, Twitch deleted it. But all that being said, let me know if you have any other questions. Make sure you check out his channel. You can probably ask him some stuff directly. AJ,
please. Yeah, man.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, man.
Thank you so much. And we're out. Peace.
All right. See you.
All my friends are heathens.